So obviously hooking up my bush hog, brush hog, rotary cutter, whatever you want to call it. I'll get into a review of that here, but just to finish up how I hook this thing up. I took the pins out of the lower arm so I can center it left and right. I sort of look anything like here. Here's the tire, here it does not. So I can just move it over. If it doesn't stay, then I'll lower the top link. It's always going to be a little bit loose. I'm going to have to lower the... Here, get out of there. I'll go over that top link in a second. It's just having the wheels on the ground. Alright, easily make it stay where I want it to. So, that's about centered. I mean, it's not critical obviously, but I guess it's nice too. And then I just find the closest hole. Now I had it when I had backed up to set it, to put it back on, the lower arms had already been set to where I had used it before. But because I didn't align it exactly where I had put it before, as far as putting these pins in, it just made it easier to take these out and then realign it. So the 3-point hitch, I bought this hydraulic top link. It's really, really handy, particularly for this. I think this is the only thing I really use it on. But this has this valve here. This valve here is a couple check valves which prevent this from drifting. So I can lift this up and leave it there overnight and it'll stay. It won't drift down. But if you didn't have this, then the valve, the rear remote valve, which is in here, is going to leak by a little bit. It's not nearly as tight as a check valve is like that. So this particular mower is 84 inches wide, so it's a little bit wider than the stance of my tractor, which is about 70 inches, 72 inches, something like that. I have the 2 tail wheels, which is really nice. I've not used one with a single tail wheel, so I don't really have a personal comparison. But I'm very happy with this. It seems to be very stable, very level. You can easily, you know, mow something between them. If you're backing up, it'll fit between the wheels. So what do I do with this mower? Well, I bought it primarily to mow the field out back there, which is sort of grown up with some woody debris. I think this is the 3rd, maybe the 4th year I've mowed it. And it's really turned around. Most of the woody brush is gone. There's still some stubble there on the bottom, and they still grows back a little bit, but it's mostly grass now. The grass is starting to take over. And the same thing on a field over there. And then I use it around the house, where I did this by hand with like a DR brush mower. This area here where I'll just mow maybe 2 or 3 times a summer, I just do with the brush hog when I have it on. Now that I've got the fields in pretty decent shape, what I'll probably do is at some point get a flail mower so that it puts a bit better finish on the areas that I do here around the house and the fields. Or ideally I'd like the same farmer that does these fields here to start mowing the other fields. But there is some woody, I guess, brush, branches, treetops that I've cut along the edge of the field that I use this to sort of mulch, if you will, or cut up. In fact, that's one of my primary reasons for hooking this up today. Is I did quite a bit of work on that field over there where I'm building a road. It's another series of videos. So I'm going to go out there and use this to not only cut the grass, but also to cut some of that, the branches and bigger stems, but not big enough for firewood, that I did not pick up for firewood, so that they can easily rot into the ground. So the grass around the lumber piles has been cut. It's muddy, particularly over there. But that's not why I got the brush hog out. So I'm going to head out back to the edge of the field, which I cut several trees last few days, last few weeks, and I'm going to brush hog around there. One thing I didn't mention is this is the clutch mechanism. I think some of the smaller ones might just have a shear bolt. This one has a clutch pack. At the beginning of the year, or when it sets for a long period of time, you're supposed to loosen these up, run it to make sure the clutches slip, so that because I think the clutch pad to the steel disc can sort of adhere, and the clutch won't function if you hit something hard. So I did that, but to do that with this guard on, which this is all the way around, I think they had 2 openings, it was almost impossible to get to these, so I just cut that guard off. I really can't see why you'd have a guard. You know, why would anyone be standing anywhere near this when it's running? But I guess they do that for liability's sake. So I'm going to head back out and let's brush around the edge of the field. So my purpose here, and I did one pass, this is actually some old stuff that I cut years ago, I think, or maybe just some fallen trees. I mean, that's cut. That was a while ago. I made one pass, but I took down some other popple trees that I didn't want in there, so now I have room to actually brush hog this, get rid of that little bit there, and just sort of have those more mature fir trees be the edge of the field. Over the years, the woods have sort of crept into the field because it's not been kept up. There's a big rock here, so I'm going to avoid that. But I'll mow over here, try to chop up those tree tops. I know where the edge of the field is because I found the barbed wire several times with my chainsaw. It's basically right there where that cut stump is. So I'll mow around here. But most of what I want to do is instant amongst those trees there, because the original field actually was way over here. The original field was actually over here somewhere, again where the wire is. So I've cut down all the aspen trees that I don't want, some other junk trees, so I'm just going to mow around them as best I can. You know, with a 7-foot rotary mower, I can't get everywhere that I'd like to, but I can certainly make it better than it is now. So the actual edge of the field is probably where that cherry tree is. Some of the larger deciduous trees, hardwoods, where the sort of the encroachment from the forest into the field is more where the fir is. They're probably only about 10 years old or so, maybe 15. So this is, I think, some stuff that I had cut maybe 10 or 15 years ago. So it goes fine underneath the brush hog. It's you know, it's pretty soft, and these small ones, well, when the blade hits it, it doesn't bother him either. So that looks a lot better. I can sort of maintain that. At least I know what's field now and what's not. And this area over here, I think, made the biggest difference. Again, it looks like the blade hit that, but it's pretty punky. Guess I could have mowed over that one a bit better, but that's fine. Yeah, this was, there was an apple tree there, that sort of sideways stump. That and another tree, maybe an ash, I can't remember, was sort of encompassing this. That's why the top is so deformed there on that. It's trying to find its way to the light. This tree didn't have much light. Whether it'll take off now or not, it probably will. So when I found small fir trees, I left them, like this little one here, because that's sort of what I'd like. That little one there is sort of like we saw over there, is that the evergreens will sort of provide a boundary to the edge of the field. So this was really nice. I mean, this was the biggest difference. This was all brush, small saplings, and now it's at least clear. Wouldn't want to run a push mower over it, but and again, bigger trees that I had cut up years ago and just push them off to the side. So I'm thinking someday maybe this will be lawn. It has some shade with the popples. Some of them are quaking aspen, some of them are big tooth aspen. They look about the same, unless you look at the leaves, at least to me. So just an idea what they use the brush hog for, and a little bit about it. So just a short little video about cleaning up the edge of the field, try to claim back some that the forest is trying to claim for itself. Well, thanks for watching. I appreciate it.